Hello, welcome back to Self Love 101 with Crystal Bell. This is week 2 of our series, and the theme for today is what is currently holding you back in your life. So, we're going to talk more about that. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys a little bit about me. I am a professor of education and also a director of education, and I have a lot of experience in the field of education as a teacher, as a literacy coach, as a consultant, and then also in life, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm all of those things. So I have a very unique perspective on all of the things that help you navigate life. So I want to start with a few things. The first is, what is going to make my videos unique? And so I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about why Self-Love 101 with Crystal Bell is a more unique YouTube experience. So obviously there are great YouTube vloggers out there who I love and appreciate. One of my things that I noticed that was a gap in a lot of YouTube videos is that many of these videos are incredibly long. So sometimes I just want something quick and helpful and easy, just because my schedule is very hectic. I have busy days every single day, especially as a mother of 2 young children, and then just trying to balance my career and other things. But I also want to make time for the other things I want to do in my life, like this channel. And so really thinking about how can I provide content that gives you enough to think about and marinate on without taking up too much of your time. So my videos are going to be between 5 and 10 minutes. Sometimes I will give you a 5-minute gem, and then sometimes I'll give you a 5 to 10 minute gem, but it will never exceed 5 to 10 minutes. And that's what I am going to really pride myself on with this new adventure is I'm going to give you something but not take up too much of your time so that it fits into everyone's busy schedule, which we know that most people have busy schedules nowadays. So I wanted to share something personal, which this is my journal, which has a little some kind of mark on here. So this is my journal, and this is my work journal. So I have a journal everywhere. So this is where I take notes about things I need to do, to-do lists, etc. This is one way to easily kind of organize your life, just writing everything down, even the things we don't understand, asking yourself questions, etc. So let's get into this week's theme. So in the first video, I asked the question, what are you waiting for, right? So kind of taking the step to actively make a change in your life. And this week, we're going to talk about, in connection to that, what is holding you back? So I want to talk about different things in our lives that may be holding us back, but I'm going to focus on social media, right? And so we know many of us spend a significant amount of time on social media, either just browsing, sometimes we have our phones and we're just browsing. And sometimes we do that in a very mindless way without really thinking of what's happening because we're probably trying not to think about something else, or we're probably procrastinating, or sometimes we're actively doing things to help us with our careers or, connecting with friends, etc. But social media can also hold us back if we spend too much time mindlessly doing things with it. Yes, there's leisure time, but if social media is taking up much more time than the other things we have to get done, or if it's holding us back from our true untapped potential, then we need to start to reimagine the ways we can actually use social media to improve our lives as opposed to allowing it to consume our lives, right? So I want you to stop and ask yourself a question. Is social media currently consuming your life or improving your life? Or is it doing both, right? And do you have a really healthy balance between the two? And I really want you to think deeply about that question. Tied to holding us back, sometimes we may be in a certain job or role that doesn't fulfill us and give us everything that we need. Are you taking steps to make those changes? Maybe it's going to be looking for new opportunities to improve your job situation, right? Maybe you currently want to try something else in terms of where you live. Maybe you want to move to a new community, but you're afraid of change, right? Afraid of moving somewhere else where you may not know people, or maybe you want to move to a new state, right? So these are all kinds of huge life things that we need to consider and think about as we make our way. We can't let it hold us back. Instead, we have to think about what is currently holding us back, the social media example, and using it to our advantage so that we can really make a real difference in our lives and hopefully in the lives of others. So in my blog, which is in the description box below, please check the link, I talked about this idea of the fear of the unknown, right? And why do we spend time worrying about things that we cannot control or that are outside of our control? For example, where I live, it was snowing this morning, right? I cannot control that. I don't like shoveling or digging out my car, but it's something that I have to do. And so I want to talk about, if you have not checked out the blog, please check out my blog, look in the description box. It's Self-Love Life 101 / Crystal Bell. Check it out. And so I have a few things to help you with getting over fear. The first is stop and reflect on the root of the fear. What is at the root of what you're fearing right now? The second thing you need to do is keep a journal. So I showed you guys my journal. This is my work journal, but I also have journals at home for everything. I've been journaling since I was like 11 years old, and I still have all of my journals. So journal about it, write about it. Don't be afraid to write things down, especially in a time period where people are not writing as much as they used to. The next thing is talk to people. I think people are really afraid to share things that they're going through that are not ideal. And again, back to this social media, in the age of social media where everything is all about who has this and who has that and who's beautiful and who's not and who's skinny and who's fat and who lost weight. And I think it's hard to feel like you can talk to people about issues. And so talk to people and know that the people that you're talking to, they have issues too. My mom always says there's one thing every human being has in common: problems. Okay, so everybody has a problem. So keep that in mind. Cry. If you need to cry about what you're afraid of, cry. Let it out. It's not a bad thing to cry. And the last thing is do something nice for yourself. Go to the gym, watch TV, binge watch. She's Gotta Have It on Netflix if you have to. That's what I'm currently watching. And just let yourself be. So I want to think about next week, right? And so the theme for next week is going to be trusting your intuition. How can we really trust our intuition? So intuition is something that is tied to the spiritual and intrinsic kind of subconscious that is within all of us. And how do we tap into that to kind of do the things in our lives that will make us better, that will make us not be so attached to social media or not be so attached to something that can fall apart, right? Like even our lives are going to be over one day. And so thinking of releasing some of the attachments we have either to people or places or things, knowing that there are things outside of our control that we don't always have the power to shape and mold. And so that's for next week, trusting your intuition. Be there for that. I hope you guys have had an opportunity in this video to reflect on some of your fears, but also reflecting on what is currently holding you back in your life. Please rate, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to check out the links in the description box for the blog. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.